this, but we need to talk about it. Carey Price, slippery slope, a downward slope. We spoke about Carey Price at the beginning of this season. The narrative is quickly changing for this player on the Habs. $10.5 million for, a long period of time. I can't remember if it's 7 years left or 8 years left. I think it's 7 now. But we need to talk about it. Now, the narrative has become that Carey Price is no longer, people have left the ship of Carey Price right now. Now, I want to get your takes on, is this fair? So I'm going to construct my question a little bit more concretely. Is Carey Price the same goaltender that we knew that is going through a rough patch again? Or is he no longer the Carey Price that once dominated this team and carried this team for many, many seasons? Alex, you first.
No, I think there's absolutely no way it's the same Carey Price. It's been, I think, 4 seasons now since he's performed at that level. A rough patch, I'd say fine if it's been a couple of months, maybe one off season, but it's 3.5 to 4 years now of underperformance. When you look at other goalies around the league, it seems like every goalie is fair to criticize except Carey Price. It seems like when it comes to Price, it's always just a rough patch or he's going to bounce back. And then he does for a month and everyone says again he's the best. And then just downhill again. And they're like, oh, we'll wait till the playoffs, wait till next year. He'll be good again. We trust him. I love Carey Price. He has the talent, but he is getting older. I don't want to say his heart's not in it anymore because I don't know him. And that's probably not true. I'm sure he's just as competitive as he was. But I think players have declines that sometimes you can't explain. A good analogy I saw online is let's say a player like Kucherov or something starts putting up 40, 50 points for the next 4 years. People aren't going to say, well, oh, he scored 130 4 years ago. He's still the best winger in the game, right? Sometimes players get worse. It happens, and I think we've reached that point with Price. I still love him. I hope he bounces back, but for now, he's definitely not justifying the contract. And I think we have to stop playing favorites with him. I think we have to give Allen his chance now since he's stepped up.
So that's a deep cut, but fair answer, to be honest. Justin, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this season, I totally agree that he's not playing up to par at all. And I think he could do with a little time off and having Jake Allen come in for maybe 3-4 games or something to just really take the load off and make him reset. We've heard in the past in interviews and stuff where he does like to have those kind of reset moments in seasons where his game isn't quite on. So he'll spend time in practice with Stefan Waite and maybe work on some things, just get ready mentally, get reset mentally, and come back. I don't think it's the end for Carey Price. First of all, because I mean, if it is 10.5 for 6 more years, it's pretty brutal. But on the other hand, I think obviously if we look just past to the bubble, he was at that elite level. And I know that he has that in him for sure. But I think part of it really is, and this might be a cop-out, but the fact is scoring is way up in the NHL. And if you look back at the goalies in 2014 or 2015, I don't think you can name me a lot of goalies that have been as elite as they were in 2013, 2014 that are at that level still now. I don't know if you guys can. We see with Holtby, Lundqvist, Tuukka Rask even, they've all kind of stepped down. They haven't been as dominant. We're not seeing the kind of career elite goalie like we saw with Martin Brodeur or a Patrick Waugh and stuff like that.
Isn't that what's scary?
Does have an effect, and I mean, it's obviously scary, but there is kind of an explanation for it. scoring is way up. It's not just that Carey Price is just playing like shit in a league where everyone's scoring 3 goals a game. You know, like
Yeah, but
I'm just making obviously I'm making some excuses for Carey Price, but
Yeah.
I think there is some stuff you have to take into account as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm alongside. I again, in best of both worlds here. I'm going to agree with both of you that I think that what worries me is you do have goalies that can change a game, and that we spoke about this before. Is that for me, Carey Price at 10.5 million needs to be that game changer. And what's problematic is that at 10.5 right now, you're paying for 10.5 million for not even an average goaltender. It's a below average goaltender. And,
True.
you saw in Ottawa, there's some key saves that he made, some big key saves that he made. And then in the Winnipeg Jets game and even that Ottawa game that I'm speaking of, he's letting in some goals that are backbreakers. And you can't have that. It's like, for me, it's as if you have like an Austin Matthews that's scoring 2 goals a game, but it's letting in that's giving away stuff that's going to make the other team score. And that's why it's difficult for me to make the same comparison, because the goaltending position is a completely different one from a player. But like you, Justin, I think Carey Price still has it in him, but it's impossible to say that this goaltender is the best in the world, because the best goaltenders in the world are also consistent. And now it's been to a point where you're just banking on the fact that Carey Price might show up for a game, whereas before, every night, Carey Price was there. And that's what's difficult right now with this whole situation. So I agree with you guys. Let's go with Allen. This is the time where the Habs need wins. You can't deal with the fact that, your goalie, your star goaltender, even though he's, I think the big difference is that, Carey Price has been given the benefit of the doubt. Now we're to a point where there's no benefit of the doubt to be given because of the roster in front of him. They're not playing great, but they're not playing to a point where it's complete, it completely merits the fact that he's like this. Go ahead, Justin.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, Seattle is coming into the league. Is it next year, right?
Yeah.
So obviously Carey Price has a no move clause, no trade clause, all that jazz. Do you try and negotiate with him to get him to waive his no move clause, to potentially expose him to the expansion draft for Seattle? Who, by the way, have a really sick logo. I'm kind of excited.
Didn't he steal it from like a restaurant or something? Anyways, go ahead.
A restaurant.
Applebee's, was that it?
Yeah, that's it. Alex?
If you're Seattle and Price is playing like this, why would you want that?
Cap space, leader type of thing.
But it's also like you'll
say Price leader.
But if the Habs kind of figure out a deal, like a kind of hockey deal where they're like, take Carey Price and we'll like scratch your back later or something, like one of those things where it's like, don't take a I don't know who on our team, don't take Nick Suzuki or something, and then yeah. But anyway, it's a hypothetical, obviously, but
I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully he does bounce back. But I think with goalies, it's just, I don't know. It seems like there are more good goalies in the league now than there were in those days. I think Price will have good games, good weeks, good months, like he showed in the bubble. But I think it's just, I don't know, it's hitting me more now that I don't watch many other teams. Like there are goalies that come up and have good months, good years all the time. Good bubbles like Thatcher Demko, Khudobin in Dallas. This is his first year as a starter now because he had an insane year last year. I don't know if goaltending's just changed and we got caught at the wrong time having to pay this guy. There's no way you can let Carey Price walk after the seasons he had in Montreal. Like people are saying like, oh, why did Bergevin give in to his contract demands? Well, it's like, well, like
you can't
you're going to come in as a GM and let Carey Price walk the same year.
Yeah.
Like Subban's leaving it. Like, No, that doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. I feel like Price has been blocked from criticism for so long.
Yeah.
And
resting on his laurels a bit.
I hope we don't go too far the other way now. Like, as much as I bash him in private group chats and stuff, like, he still should be supported and he can be a good goalie. But I think we're going to have to live with that cap hit for, 6 more years now? I don't see a way that he's moving. Like, it's not, I don't think that's doable.
So I'm sorry to interrupt here. Justin, did you have those technical problems with Alex's audio as well?
Yeah, but I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Okay, excellent. Just wanted to know. So I lost you a little bit there, Alex, but I caught your drift 100%. You know, like you make great points. The details of those points are fuzzy for me right now, but the point being, for me, is 10.5 million for a goalie. You gambled. Like, you gambled on Carey Price if you're Marc Bergevin. You know, I don't think that was a gamble. Like you said, like, you can't not go in on Carey Price, this guy who carried you night in, night out for seasons on seasons on seasons. There's no way to predict this if you're a GM. So for me, it's not on the GM really. It's a question of, there are some times you bet on the wrong horse. And I really hope I'm not at the point where I think that's the case. I think Carey Price still has enough time in his career to shut up the haters. I really do believe that. However, there is a strong possibility that this is just my optimism as a Montreal Canadian fan, and people might disagree with me, but there is a strong possibility that, that is the case, and he is no longer who he is, and Marc Bergevin bet on the wrong horse, and I'm sorry to say, but that's going to ruin the Montreal Canadiens. For you're going to be stuck with that contract, and if he's like this, there's things that are going to need to be done that are going to hurt this team and are going to delay any type of success that we thought we would get maybe in the nearer future. That's all I'll say.
I mean, yeah, I think we're kind of blowing it a bit out of proportion. Like, I think obviously he's not playing like a 10.5 million goalie. Like, no one thinks that. And to your point about kind of Marc Bergevin made a bet at the time, like you said, it wasn't a bet. It was, I think every single person who thought about that contract said the exact same thing. Says that that's an expensive contract, but it's going to be worth it because he's the best goalie in the world at the time. They're saying that. Now, Carey Price is 33 years old. So for a goalie, I think he still has a lot of time left to be good.
Yeah.
And I don't think this kind of sample size really shows where he's at in his career. I think he still has a lot to give. And maybe his best days are behind him. But I think he still can be as solid as ever. And I don't know what it is. Like, last year we saw the same thing where he had a month where he was just trash. And then he came back and he played amazing. So it's like he goes through these kind of slumps, and it's inexplicable. It's frustrating, obviously, as a Habs fan, because I was yelling at my TV the other day when he let these goals in. Like, I'm like, these. And I'm the biggest Carey Price apologist. Like, I have a Carey Price jersey on right now. I was gonna put the Drouet on this episode, but I put on the Carey Price one.
Yeah, it's good choice. Topical.
I was yelling at Carey Price, and usually I'm the biggest Carey Price apologist. So as much as we're frustrated at him, I'm sure he's just as frustrated at himself, and he knows that he can play so much better and he can just be so much more solid. So I'm willing to put it on the line. I'm saying, maybe it's a bold take, a hot take, but I think Jake Allen's gonna take a couple starts, and Carey Price is gonna come back, and he's gonna be just as solid as we wanted him to.
Honestly, I agree with you. I agree with you. However, you need to present the other side, which is also a viable.
No.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the candor, but
I'm just saying, like, there is no other side, because we whether we like it or not, we're stuck with this guy.
Well, there
It's
is
not gonna
another
happen.
side that it's going to be brutal. That's my
Yeah,
point.
of course. But I'm
Yeah.
saying that like we've made our bed, now we have to lie in it, right? Like
Yeah,
we
there you go.
signed this guy. We've basically signed him as a Habs lifer. He's
Yeah.
not leaving. He's happy at home. He has 3 kids. There's no moving him.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you guys think, but let us know because this is a big topic. So we'll move on here.